Welcome back to the Chatterbox with your boy King Jacob. We bringing you the best in news, sports, entertainment, and today, man, we're gonna be talking about, the evolution of West Coast hip hop, the business side. And so I have a special legendary guest, you know, um, my man, Scotty D. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him properly introduce himself to the audience, and then we'll get into the story of the elevation of West Coast hip hop, the business side. Scotty?
Hey, I'm Scotty D Spencer, one of Mama Roof kids. Um, hey, I'm one of the architects from the West Coast. It's only a few of us that can actually tell the complete West Coast story, and I just happen to be one of them. I was there when the baby was nurtured. Before it was even born, we set the seeds out here on the West Coast, and we talking about from the Bay to San Diego. It was us, from the rap, Cali hop, then hip hop, and whatever it is today, we were there and still here.
Okay. So let's get into the elevation and how the West Coast hip hop started, and how was you involved, when it first started?
Well, when it first started um, in California, I mean, from my recollection, the first rappers I heard were the Watts Prophets at the Watts Festival. The Watts Prophets are the first and only rappers published. These are published rappers, 1970, um, out of the Watts Writers Workshop. They were doing poetry, but their first album was called Rapping Black in a White World. So what does that make them?
Right,
Rap.
right.
They had the name Rapping Black. So from seeing them guys, and then I'm going into the dancing now. Everybody was locking through Don Campbell, another creator. He was just the person who made up the dance called the lock. But there were other elements, street dancers doing nightclubs and house parties. They were the ones who came and met with Don, and they all got together and made a group called the Lockers. Skeeter Rabbit, legendaries of Lock. He has a website right there. So going through that, I was a locker, and I was a pop locker at my school, Centennial High School in Compton, gang member also. And I stopped doing the gang stuff to get into that part of entertainment. Always been in entertainment. My mom and dad had bootleg joints. They would have like parties on the weekends. They had good jobs. They would have gambling and everything at the house. I was entertaining. I would always come out, play the right records they like, and I would do the little dance, my spin on my head, whatever dance was out there, and dancing like the Temptations and whoever. And that became like something I really fell in love with. So I got in high school and I was a dancer. I was the first one to start a dance group at Centennial High School, 1977. 1977. I had my own dance group there with Bloods and Crips. And we wasn't even getting along, but I stopped gang banging and told the principal I'd stop if you let me get this room here at Centennial to put on performances. And we did that. Got pictures in my yearbook of us dancing there. And I got in a little trouble. I had to go to Job Corps. And that was 1978. I had to go to Job Corps. My probation officer gave me a ultimatum. You can either go to YA or you can go to Job Corps. You guys know what YA is? It's called Youth Authority. I know what that is because I've been to different camps, Sylmar, Central, Los Padrinos. I knew YA, that's the big house. That's a gladiator school. Didn't want to go there. I had a little bit more knowledge than that. So I went on and went to Job Corps. When I got there, my first day in Job Corps, you go to orientation and then you go to your dorm where you're going to be staying at. I get off the bus. I'm going through the dorm, going to the living quarters in the middle where you're going to meet everybody at. And I heard the sound. It sounded like somebody was chanting over a beat. So I stopped and I looked in the little cubicle and I saw this kid with a radio and he was just rapping over this beat. I'm like, yo, what you doing? He said, I'm rapping. I'm like, really? Hey, can I come back and talk to you? His name was Tony C. He ended up being a cousin of this guy named Jimmy Spicer. He made a song called Super Rhymes. But to make a long story short, he ended up being a good friend of mine. I stayed in Job Corps for 2 years because I was on probation and I had to stay there. But all the time I'm in Job Corps, I'm a DJ in LA already. House parties and everything. All my family events, other friends' parties. And I'm going back to LA. I'm getting everything from Job Corps I can. I'm gonna be the best DJ. I'm a funk DJ. But this stuff is totally different from what I'm doing in California. And I gangstered everybody tapes because I ended up being vice president of my dorm. So everybody want to be my friend. You want to be my friend? Go give me that tape. Bring it back to me. You ain't got to clean the tortoise out, stuff like that. So I fell in love with that sound in Job Corps. When I came back home in 1979 Christmas time, the guy Tony, the one I was telling you about that was doing the chanting, that's his cousin was Jimmy Spicer. So he went to New York first. The New Yorkers went home for Christmas first. He came back with some test press records because we had a discotheque at the Job Corps I was at in Utah, Clearfield, Utah. It was Clearfield, Utah Job Corps. That's where I'm from. We got a website up and everything now. He brought back these test presses. He knew I'm a DJ in LA. He knew what my whole ultimatum was. Look, man, take these records with you and see what's happening. This is my first record I promoted outside of R&B, which was Jimmy Spicer's Super Rhymes. I took it to LA and I gave it to 3 different nightclubs. At this time, we had a club called the Carolina West by the airport in LA. This club was ultimate. It had telephone booths at each table, so you can call if you see a nice female. Hey, young lady, I'm over here, table 19. What you drinking? You can call different tables. So that was a cool club. I gave that DJ record. At the same time, before I went to Job Corps, it was a nightclub open that I used to dance at. It's called The Workshop. You would go there in the evening time, and you can stay all the way to the next morning because LA didn't have a curfew at the time. But if you go this weekend and you get on the camera, they'll show you on the big screen the following weekend. So you want to get there early, get on camera. That was another frequent spot. And I gave that DJ record. He happened to be a guy named Disco Daddy. Disco Daddy did the first rap record in LA through a good friend of ours named Cletus Anderson and Duffy Hooks. They pressed up the first rap record in California. That was that. And the third record I had 4 records, but the third record I gave it to this guy named Lonzo. He had just opened up his nightclub in Compton called the Eve After Dark. So I gave him a record. And after I gave him a record, about a month later, during his grand opening, he announced that he was doing a rap contest at his club. And you had to rap all the lyrics of that song, Super Rhymes. But at that same time, I ran into these guys in Compton in the Lutheran Garden Apartments that were doing the same sound that I heard in Job Corps. They called the Sound Master Crew, DJ D, Little Richie C, Wiz Kid, Derek. They were all cousins, last name Valentine, except for Rich. He was a McMichaels, but they were the Valentine brother, but they called themselves the Sound Master Crew. I didn't find out about the Sound Master Crew really being big as they were until 2 years ago. I went to their neighborhood day in New York, in Castle Hill, the Bronx. I went there, and them guys always heard that DJ D started a group in California, with all of us Californians, and made us Sound Masters. I went there and solidified us being sound. Just Ice is a Sound Master in New York. Think about it. He did a song with KRS-One.
Right.
Sound Master, Castle Hill. He speaks on it. California, Mixmaster Spade, King T, DJ Aladdin, Coolio. They're all sound masters through us in Compton. So that's another story right there. So the elevation. So at the same time we're doing all this, I went to the military, came back home. I started doing fashion, clothes through my partner, LZD Van Scott Jr. He was doing clothes, him and his cousin John, and they had like regular plain clothes. They would get the suits that they wanted and they would sell them, but they were making stuff, but it wasn't popular. It wasn't that. But me and my nephew, Anthony Malborough, rest in peace. He and I used to do graffiti on shirts. Down your arm and leg, on your pants, put your name on the butt, put honey boom up here. Whatever the saying was, we would do it in graffiti. And we started taking them up to my man DJ Big D's shop. And the name of the company is called J&D's Exclusive Custom Sportswear out of
Mm-hmm.
Gardena, California. I would drop off maybe 20 shirts up there, and he would call me back. You know, back then you had to call Mama House. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't no beepers and all that kind of stuff back then. You had to call directly to Mama House and leave a message. So he leave a message, bring me some shirts. I did it a couple of times, and then one day I'm at his shop, and I heard all the machines in the back work. I said, "So what you doing back there?" He said, "Come on." So I went back and I'm looking around, see all these people working. I'm like, "Wow, that's cool, that's nice, but you should make it big, man. You know, make it big." He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Make a pattern." He challenged me to make a pattern. So me and my nephew, we got down, we just made patterns, and the patterns that we made were feeler because the feeler shirts we made with the big writing up here in your, just like how this is. We had a
Mm-hmm.
big feeler right here, you know, and we put the feeler down the arm and leg on like 3 suits, and we
Mm-hmm.
blew up from that day. One went to my brother, one went to John. Well, matter of fact, Big John and LTD Van Scott are first cousins with Kanye West. If you heard Kanye West on the Drink Champs 2 hour special,
Mm-hmm.
he mentioned us, that his cousins been rich in the fashion game. In other words, it's in his DNA for him to be great in fashion because we were great in fashion. We was making like $1 million a month slinging sweatsuits, bro.
Oh wow.
So I put my shop. I mean, Freeway Rick was making like 18 million in, you know, dope. We were selling dope too, dope clothes, man. So
Right.
we had 3 shops in LA, one in Compton, 2 in LA, one on El Segundo in Normandy. That was our front store. El Segundo and Halldale was our warehouse. Then I moved my shop all the way to the Valley, which was Pacoima, California, on Van Nuys and Glen Oaks in the Arco parking lot. That was our $1 million spot. Everybody came there because at the same time, I'm running with this big group called Uncle Jam's Army by way of Roger Clayton. Rest in peace, Roger Clayton. He was one of the greatest dance promoters ever, bro. I mean, he would have like 20,000 kids at the sports arena, no act, big.
Mm.
And only people that can rap down there was like Ice T. We started in Alpine Village. That's how I met him. And remember, I said we had the rap contest at Lonzo Williams Club.
Right.
He saw my group. Coolio and Spoonie C was in one group. My man DJ D was a DJ for both these groups. Wiz Kid and Rich was in another group, and I put them in the contest. Now, I wasn't supposed to be in that club because I was a blue rag at that time, and that's a red rag club, you know, Bloods and Crips. So I'm sitting back in my booth, and my girl, my baby mama rather, Suzanne and Bridget were there, and they were from that side, the red side. But I didn't feel comfortable, even though I had my 25 automatic in that boot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
you know what I mean? Security, I was slipping at the club, but I was safe, you know, made sure I was safe. So I got up and I went to the DJ booth. I stood up there with the DJ. And the first thing he did was that jiggy, jiggy, jiggy. The guy who ran the club ran from way on that side of the club over to the DJ booth. Yo, my people pay good money to get up in there. We don't want to hear all that jiggy, just scratching and stuff. What? And D just threw the beat on, and the group that was on performing at that time was Wiz Kid and Lil Richie C. Everything came out their mouth. My DJ, my DJ, my DJ, and they were mouths wide open because he was sticky icky on the turntables at the time. DJ D was one of the best. And make a long story short, going back forward again, me and Roger Clayton became friends because I passed out flyers at his club one time. His second dance. At the first dance, I missed it, but I heard about it. And I knew he was going to have a lot of people at the second dance. So I made sure I had enough flyers. And I went there by myself. And his security guard, he had big security guard. I think it was Big Mike that busted me with the flyers. Hey, man, you can't be passing out no flyers, man. Okay, I'm gone. Don't put your hands on me. So Roger Clayton, Uncle Jam's Army, rest in peace, my brother. He came over, yo, can we pass on no flyers in my place, dog? But do you know this group on this flyer? I said, yeah, that's my group. Soundmaster Crew, DJ D, Richie C, that's my group. He said, look, I want them to perform at the convention center. I didn't say sports arena. We did the convention center before Ice-T and them came to the, you know, sports arena. It was a convention center first. So they went down there and they performed, and so many people wanted to be DJs after they saw them perform because he put the blindfold on. He did everything. Only had a few minutes, and then he didn't know the West Coast songs like "More Bounce to the Ounce." He put on like "Knock 'Em Out, Sugar Ray" or some New York stuff instead of putting that LA mentality. But the thing is, Uncle Jam's Army had the concrete, Soundmaster crew had the water. We put it on that stage that night, mixed it all up, and my opinion only, we laid the foundation for West Coast hip hop that night.
Okay, okay. So as time went on, and man, you talked about Ice T. So when did Ice T come into the scene? Because I remember seeing him when I was a little kid on the movie Breaking, and and he was really really young then. So when did the West Coast, you know, accept Ice T, and when did y'all welcome him in?
Ice T was always welcoming. Ice T is a G. He was doing his thing. Like I said, his first record was pressed up by the same person that pressed up Duffy Hooks, Cletus Anderson and Duffy Hooks.
Mm-hmm.
They found Ice T in a barbershop or something and brought him down to the studio. And Ice T just rapped on one song. It's called Cold Winter Madness. You can find it
Mm-hmm.
out there online. And he just, the song is still going on right now. That's how much he rapped. The song never ended. So Ice was
Mm-hmm.
always in, and by him being by Uncle Jam's Army doing their thing, LA Dream Team, Snake Puppy bought Egypt to Uncle Jam's Army. You know, Ice T was just there, and he just would always come, and Cletus would try to get Roger to play the record, but Roger did never play the record that Cletus wanted. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem was with him and Cletus. Just never clicked or something, but Ice would always be invited to do things with Roger. Roger would put Ice T on stage whenever he was there by his, here, if he was
Right,
there.
right. And so for those who are not familiar with the LA Dream Team, I mean, I'm familiar with them because I had uncles that used to play that record all the time. You know what I mean? So, and I'm from South Carolina, so when the record is hitting like that in the Carolinas, and once I found out who LA Dream Team was, I was a kid and I was pretty amazed. So, um, for those who don't know who LA Dream Team is, could you really brief them on who they are and what they was able to accomplish during that whole time in the club arena?
Yeah, they were the first ones to go out on a major tour. I mean, with everybody, with all the groups that were out at that time. That was Snake Puppy and Rudy Pardee. I mean, them dudes were like Houdini, fashion, fly. They got the big hats on, nice shirts and stuff on. They were the sex symbols of the West Coast to me. And I mean, he had the bombest jam. Come on, Rockberry Jam. The Dream Team is in the house. They had so many hits, and all their songs were hitting on the radio all over the country. They had a good promoter. They had a good label that they were with.
Yeah.
They're still performing now. They just had a member with them, General Jeff. He just passed away about a month ago. We just, let him rest in peace. Did a beautiful service on him. But the Dream Team was just one of the groups. Just one of the groups. You got Egyptian Lover. This was the first guy ever in hip hop at that time to have a Rolls Royce. Egypt run around a Rolls Royce, with the songs out, man. You had Mixed Master Spade. He had songs out in the streets, but they were riding. They had money, man. Back then the drug game was there, but everybody wasn't selling drugs. See, we went from being drug dealers making records to gang members making records. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different, it's a different culture. Now the young people that's there now, those are like babies of the drug dealers and drug women and men that were doing the drugs. So our future right now is in limbo, but they're being very creative, and it's just an evolution of hip hop right now. I love it. We need to do something like, I don't want to speak on it, but it's something that's really going to be big across the United States. The anniversary, the hip hop is going to be having a birthday soon.
Right.
And we are going to be really involved with that, because they're not going to speak on Scotty D or Mixed Master Spade or our first female rapper, Trouble MC. She was a female signed to a major label. about to come out, and she passed away. You know, we got a lot of people that didn't get to see this day in hip hop or Cali hop or rap that have not been recognized, and that's where my story comes in at. You know, matter of fact, the whole West Coast story has never been told in entirety yet because a lot of people don't know the story. They don't really. Sometimes they don't care, but they want it now because we have to put all this stuff in a time capsule. They're opening up the New York City Museum soon, and they want all these archives for their museum. But a lot of people don't want to put their archives somewhere where they can't get paid for their children's children. So,
Mm, okay.
me personally, I've done so much, and I have so much stuff. I got my friend Matthew McDaniels has the most moving footage of all of the events and people on stage. I have the most pictures. I have the most still shots of everything. So we collaborate and help each other out with different films. I got pictures in the Defiant Ones, Straight Outta Compton, the Easy E Story, and several other films. But now I'm putting together my own. Matter of fact, I already got 9 hours on my own film already in the can. A few
Right.
companies are looking at. Matter of fact, Snoop brought me down to the compound last month and hooked your brother up, man. He want me to really, really hold tight and preserve what I got to help him do what he's about to do in the next couple of months. But
Okay.
that's
Okay.
Scotty D.
So,
I keep it
so
moving.
when hip hop was evolving, when I was a young boy, I used to I used to have a homeboy. He was from Cali, but he used to be at the flea markets out in Columbia, South Carolina, and that's how we kind of found out about Compton's Most Wanted. And that was back in the '80s. So as far as the involvement with people like MC8 and like DJ Quick and like the whole NWA and stuff like that. So how was that movement at that time? Because you was pretty well known all over, and so
Well,
and so how was that movement?
okay. Well, at that time, I was selling sweatsuits, custom sweatsuits. You can
Okay.
get your suit. I'm gonna send you some pictures. You can get your suit made any way you want it. Feel it down the arm, down the leg, Gucci, Elise, whatever the saying was, Kango, um, the radio show. You know, I can make you whatever you want it done. I will do it. If you want a custom suit, you want to put your pistol right here. I'll put a pouch right there for you to put your pistol. So we were known all over the United States. We were sending suits out, and what I would do, I would put like the records that was at that time. I put out King T record, Hammer record, and Boys in the Hood, Easy E. Every time I would send a package to Detroit or St. Louis or New Orleans, and these people would buy suits from us all across the country. So I would send their records out. So they started getting shows. So the first few shows with NWA, we had something to do with. Um, all the King T shows. The Coolio had a group called New School. All Rodney on Joe Cooley. We would do tours, man. Roger Clayton would put us on tours. Whatever group he bought from New York, like Houdini or Whistle or the Real Roxanne, he would put LA groups on the shows. And we started doing tours. So we were all one family. We were one. I remember at one time, I would take the drum machine from DJ Pooh to Dre back to DJ Pooh, because at that time they didn't have license and cars and all that. You know what I'm saying? But we were family, bro. We were family. We'll see each other now, now and again doing whatever we're doing. Ain't
Mm.
no love lost, no bad talk, none of that. But I'm just I was there to help evolve this thing. And like I said, I had them sweatsuits going. So at my store, DJ Pooh, you ever heard of DJ Pooh?
I have.
DJ Pooh used to work for me in my store. And I sent him to New York to be with this group that Houdini was developing called the All American Boys with Cliff Love and Lance Romance. So when Pooh went to New York, LA Posse Productions was already in New York, had got picked up by Russell Simmons to go out there and develop this kid named Breeze, LA Breeze. So at the same time, they're out there developing this group. They heard some of the beats and they wanted them to try to put some stuff together for LL Cool J. That's how they ended up doing the Bad album. They did other records for Houdini and Run DMC also. They came up with the name through Jam Master Jay, LA Posse Production. But DJ Pooh ended up seeing him out there. That's how he ended up getting on the record and on the
Mm-hmm.
first Def Jam tour to come back this way. So that DJ, like I said, DJ Pooh worked for me. King T, you ever heard of King T? An
I
alcoholic?
have.
Well, King
I have.
T was one of the guys in my store. Was always there. He was one of my I had a DJ booth in my store. So DJ Pooh was one of my DJs. King T is one of my DJs. Pooh made him be a rapper. His name is Terry T, but DJ Pooh gave him the name King T. The Alcoholics. You ever heard of them?
Of
Liquid
course.
Pooh? Okay.
Of course.
They came out of my shop also. J Roll.
Yeah, they actually one of the hardest groups that ever came out, in my opinion.
They call them,
Uh,
and they
yeah.
are the ones who made up the name Cali Hop. They had to separate themselves from everything else in the United States and the world. And see the hip hop, no, they're Cali Hop. And see the Backpack Crew, no, they Cali Hop. That's through J Ro. It was J Ro, Suave D, and E Swift. E Swift uh, ended up running into Exhibit. Exhibit came in under King T, and they formed themselves called the Liquid Crew. Got so many groups in the Liquid Crew. Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
Luke, it's a lot of the Liquid, a lot of Liquid Crew. They got a radio station also, but that all came through Scotty D's umbrella. Coolio, DJ Aladdin is my nephew, so I got a lot of helped a lot of. WC was with us at that time. I would get shows for all them guys, man. A lot of shows.
Okay. Okay. So with you being from LA, how did that whole thing with LA and the Bay Area hit so close together where, y'all started doing the tours with cats from LA, Compton, Watts, Crenshaw, and then you took it down to Hayward, California. You took it down to Sacramento, to Oakland, to San Fran. So, there was a big, tour. There was big tours in just Cali alone.
Right.
When it comes to people from the Bay and comes to people from the whole Los Angeles metropolitan area. So how did those tours work out? And they was huge. So can you speak on that?
Well, somebody might try to check me on this, but I'm gonna let the world know. Before the tours, myself, DJ Pooh, and my cousin Big Pete. He was in Soledad prison. So he got out and he was working at my store. I said, look, man, I got a friend in Oakland I met in Job Corps. Remember I told you I was in Job Corps, Clearfield Job Corps
Right.
Center. His name was Alvin Nutt. He said, Scotty, if you ever come to Oakland, get off on Hagenberger and ask anybody, where's Alvin Nutt? And I'm gonna come holler at you. I never seen my partner again, but I got in my Cadillac one day with the bumper kit on it, and I put about 50 suits in my trunk. Just smashed them in. We got 50 suits, and we just took off and went to the Bay. This 1983, 84. We just went up there, and when we got there, I met this girl. Her name was Renee Starlet Davis, and she coming out the store. DJ Pooh and my cousin Pete used to drink 40 ounces and smoke weed. I didn't do all that, so they come out the store with their stuff, and I see the left. Hey, Miss, come in. Let me show you something. She said, what's up? I showed her the sweatsuit. I said, I give you one of these sweatsuits if you can show me somewhere I can sell some at. She said, follow me. I said, you don't want to get in? Nah, follow me. So she started walking. She walked about 6 blocks and took me to a store called Swings and Rings. And he bought about 12 suits. I gave her the suit. We've been like that ever since. That's almost 30 years ago. And so I'm riding around. She told me to go to the Eastmont Mall. She told me all the spots to go to. I go to Eastmont Mall up into a place called T.Y. Uzi Records. I met this guy named Moses. Moses put the suits up in the store, and he was selling them. I come back up the next week, get my money, and restock the store, right? And I'm riding around town. I run into like drug dealers, like had crews. So this guy named Lil D had crews. So I ran into them one day. I ain't gonna tell you how we met, but it was kind of crazy, man. But it made us pull over, but they ended up doing a lot of good business with it. There were about 25 suits every other week. Had me come out there, rent the room, and my suits got so popular in the Bay. When we started doing shows up there, it was easy for us to promote because we knew people. You feel me? We knew this is before Uncle Jam's Army when I had already planted the flag. There's family up here. So we was the first ones to do that Bay to LA connection. So when we go out there and do them shows, I mean, man, we would have so many people because of relationships. It was all relationships. Like now, when I start doing the promotions and marketing for a lot of those groups out there, the Cool Nuts and Sibo, Marvelous, Mac Mall. Oh man, the list goes on and on. Spice One. I promoted a lot of people out there.
Man,
I
boy, you
promoted.
just said the name ain't heard in
We
a
bought,
long time.
we bought Too Short first. The first double tape from out there. We bought that tape and DJ Pooh duplicated it and all the time. And then we didn't know that it was Too Short's two cousins, Lance. He got two twin cousins, was his DJs, right? They live in LA and they was in Uncle Jam's army. Ain't that crazy? We didn't know how tight the connection to the Bay was, man.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so once you said SIBO, you said Spice One, uh,
Marvelous.
you know, and then
Brother Lynch. We did all, we promoted of all them dudes out there. Pretty much
and then
everybody.
I was telling somebody, man, I said, man,
RBL Posse. I had all of ill-mannered players. Totally Insane. Mac Dre Dog. Man, who else?
Mac Dre, wow.
The Delinquents. I did the Delinquents. Oh man.
Legendary, man.
Yeah.
Legendary. And I tell people just some thing about when people talk about the Bay, they just want to mention Oakland. But I said, man, if you know anything about Sacktown, it's a lot of legendary artists that come from Sacktown, man. That's been doing it for years. Been doing it for years. So, that whole Bay Area. And somebody asked me, man, how did E40 get so huge, man? I said, man, E40 been in the business for a long time, man.
The
A
click.
long time, man. And
click.
with me knowing who you are, man, I know that you helped a lot of those guys, you know what I'm saying? And you ran through a lot of sectors. When I say ran
They
through,
go
I
to
mean you did
Loonies.
big. You did
They go to Loonies right there.
right. I got 5 on it. That's right.
Man, I got some stories about me and Numbskull. Oh my God, man, we got stories. I'm gonna tell it one day. I
Right.
want to be
So
on the show with him when I tell this story I got to ask you about. Man.
right. So as hip hop evolved, in West Coast, you had the Rodney King incident, and you had NWA come out with "Fuck the Police," and you know, um, a young brother got it bad cause he brown. So during that time, with you being who you are, what did you see from West Coast hip hop, and how did that help change the narrative on how people from outside the West Coast view West Coast hip hop?
Well, all the events that happened. I mean, from football hitting the guy in the head with the brick and all that. I mean, it's unfortunate, but something had to happen, man. Police been on our ass for no reason. All these scars, I'm gonna come close. See these scars on my forehead? That's all police brutality. This before Rodney King got his ass whooped. I was damn near dead. I got glasses because of the police. They paid me a little money, but it was just bad. They would always sweat us. You're not supposed to make us get out of our cars every time. It was terrible, man. So people got tired of it, and I ain't mad at them because I mean, all the destruction, the property damage. But you know what? We had theme songs back then.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that.
The
Because I can
reason why
remember.
it was so big and the reason why it was so effective, we had theme songs.
Right.
We had the whole Ice Cube album. You know what I'm saying? It was DJ Pooh put some work in on that album. That album was so, I mean, man, Ice Cube was like, he he made us tear up some stuff, bro. But it was it was a lot of unity, but it wasn't no after effects. We had the peace rallies and stuff like that. I don't know how it got broke back up again. Probably COINTELPRO, like they always do. They'll send them agents out there to separate us again and get it back to, get being messed up and being unorganized and being against one another, instead of being unified. So that's what we are now. And even after Nipsey, everything was cool. Now all of a sudden it's not again. So we have to have headquarters for people to, like when I had my stores, it was so much unity because people had a headquarters to come to, and it wasn't just about sweatsuits and music. We had the Nation of Islam always around. We had places that people can come to get it off your chest. Then you have real people in different neighborhoods you can call. Hey, Mike Conception. hey, we got a problem over here. Can you help us solve it? They would come out and help us solve that problem. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've been at a concert one night when Michael Conception asked everybody in the audience to hold hand, let's say a prayer like that. I'm like, woo. We had some heavyweight guys out here in LA, but a lot of them, you know, not here no more.
Right,
But
right,
we still
right,
have the
right.
clothes and it's legendary, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
it can still come back around to the love. It's always about the love, you know, for the culture. The culture
And
has a
so,
and it has to change and it has to,
right, and so tell me about when you first heard that they was gonna do the record and bring the unity, the record called Self Destruction. You know, tell me how you was a part of that Self Destruction record.
well, Self Destruction was East Coast. I just helped them promote it on the West Coast. The song that we did on the West Coast was Same Gang. Now, that's Mike Conception's song. Same Gang
Okay.
was King T, Ice T, Hammer, uh,
Easy.
Tone Loc, Easy E, NWA, JJ Fad, Michelle A. Did I say Tone Loc? Yeah, I said Tone Loc. Oh,
Right, right, right,
Digital Underground. And Digital
right.
Underground.
And so with that being said, you know, same game came out, Self Destruction came out, but I seen how there was people from the East Coast promoting same game and people from the West Coast promoting self destruction, and
Right.
so it was like a unity form by both sides. And so, how did we lose that unity? You know, to what it went to when the whole big impact, or you know, like Nipsey, or you know, just like even in the South, the unity was lost because we just buried Young Dolph. So, what has happened to hip hop, and how can we change the narrative?
The only way we can change the narrative is I can't be the leader of that. You can't be the leader of that because they'll kill us for talking all that, get back together. So we're gonna have to do a positive movement with a dummy. Get you a little dummy called Soul Brother Number One. Let him speak the narrative. And he's funny. You know, comedy always helps everybody soothe, but we can't do it. The human being cannot, it has to be something super spiritual for this thing to come back together because, man, Satan is like, I mean, I'm not giving Satan no credit, but it's just the point of how it is. And I see me being in the light. I stand in the light. You see what my stuff say? One God,
Mm-hmm.
I'm all that. You know, I ain't never been in nobody else's club. I ain't never asked them for no money. I worked for everything I did in the whole industry. So they can't really talk to me any kind of way, you know. None of them. I mean, from
Mm-hmm.
the top to the
So,
bottom, they can't suggest nothing to me because they know where I stand. And I'm
so,
firm with it. And the only way we can get this thing back, it has to be one chunk at a time. Tupac tried to do it with one, you know, one nation. I worked at Death Row from the beginning to the end. I worked at Interscope for 5 years. I worked at Rap a Lot for 6 years. I worked for a lot of Tommy Boy. I worked for a lot of record labels, man. And I've seen it all. Like I said, my first group I was in was the Soundmaster crew, New York City. We didn't have no beef. We was the only group that didn't have no beef, but we was coast to coast before all of them. And right now, to this day, we're still unified. So it's there. You know, the stories just have to come out for people to start seeing it's never been a beef. Those were two people having a beef, and it ended up spilling over in the streets, you know, because we let it. You know, it was nobody else speaking up on it. Like now, you know, nobody's speaking up on the unification of hip hop or rap. It's everybody's individually. There's no one nation, no one God, no one nothing. It's all
mhm.
individuals, man. There's no unity. So that's why I'm doing my film. That's why I'm putting together my stuff so they can see. It might change a few minds. Then again, it might not. But we're going to still pushing. We're going to still keep pushing what we're doing.
And like so you name a few people that you know I haven't heard in a while, man, like JJ Fad and Tone Loc and people like that, man, and even you know when you had Sir Mix a lot coming on the West Coast a lot, you know what I'm saying? You know he from Seattle, but he was always in Cali, you know, and you know the posse's on my posse's on Broadway was a big hit, just like Baby Got Back was a big hit.
Right.
And so I know that it was circulating down south a lot. So I know it was circulating in Cali a lot. So you know, with that being said, with people like Sir Mix a Lot, Tone Loc, JJ Fad, Yo Yo. Um, what would you say was the most uh best studio session that you ever been in that you witnessed?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Judge, this is like me. I never been that guy in the studio to watch them do their stuff. Give me your product when you come out, because you
Okay.
give me that little demo. Your demo sound better than the records you just put out. So I quit doing that. The best session I ever been in was a song that I executive produced with Mixmaster Spade. It's called "Let's Get Stupid, Let's Get Hype." I had Mixmaster Spade on it. I had this Mo Love. She was a dope female. I had Jazzy Red out of Texas. I had Coolio. I had Def Casper. I had Gangster from the Conrads and CJ Mack, and my cousin Woog the Rapper, and my sister Sheila. That song was so fun. To this day, that
Mm-hmm.
song is still getting played. But I mean, as far as, let me see, with Snoop and all them, I can't say it. Well, I can't say a good studio session other than that one. But well, wait a minute. I did one with Tupac. Coolio was in one room, Tupac was in one room, and DJ Pooh was in another room. Him and King T. All these, it was 3 studios at Echo Sound. And I made a store run. On my way back, somebody was breaking into a car outside. And I said, yo, I think somebody out here, who got a Suzuki out here? Somebody like they breaking in somebody's car. And man, Tupac and them ran out there, and boy, it was ugly. That was a good session, but it was turned out to be kind of negative, but it was good.
Right. So
I have
when
more
it
fun
comes,
promoting. I have more fun promoting records. Breaking records is what I was doing.
okay, I can dig it. I can dig it.
Give me that question. Give me that question right there. I love that question.
Okay. So, what's the top 5 records that you've broken that you seen elevate to a level that you can even imagine that it was going to do? Top 5.
Sugar Free.
Okay.
Reason why I say that, because the album was called Street Gospel. They called me in a special meeting. It was a special meeting on this one. They called me up and let me hear it. Said, man, what can you do with this? I'm like, man, Street Gospel. But he doing all this cussing, mama. So I took that product to every motorcycle club in LA, to every strip club in LA, to every stroll. You know what a stroll is, with a hooker
Right.
work at.
Right.
And that's how
Right.
I promoted that record. That ended up being a household album. So that was a good one for me. Coolio, because we had to prove a point with that.
Mm-hmm.
So Coolio's album. The Goody Mob. Man, that was one. Them dudes would come to my mama house and hang out, man. Back in the mom, they asked when I talked to them, Scotty, man, how your mama doing? Them some good dudes right there. So Goody Mob.
Right.
Twister.
Okay.
This is Twister, when he went with the Speed Not Mobsters and all that. When Twister was by himself, when he was over at New Tribe Records, he did the song with Do or Die. Remember?
Right.
Backseat Caddies, Chop It Up with Do or Die, and Twister
Right.
was on there. Yeah, so that was a good one that we broke. It was hard to break it, but we did it. Now look at Twister to this day. Damn, somebody else in my top 5 got to be King T, man. King T's album, because that album, they didn't know who he was when he first came out. They thought King T was from Philadelphia or somewhere. They kind of like, where you from in New York? Because he a B-boy. He was raised by the Soundmaster crew, which is from where? New York City, Castle Hill.
Right.
It was always around that. That's why they call themselves Cali Hop, because they was doing that, using those sounds. Listen to DJ Pooh album. It got so many different elements from New York in that King T first. That album right there, Act the Fool. That's a hip hop album, man. No gangster album. He just look gangster on the front. But that's me in the back of the album too. I'm on the back of the Cadillac.
Right. So, with that, that's the top 5. So, what are your top 5 female records that you have broken?
Marvelous, Yo Yo, Queen Latifah, Salt and Pepper, and MC Light.
Okay. So what do you rate? You know, when Lady of Rage was on her run, You
But
know,
Rage never came with an album. Remember, her
right,
album
right, right,
coming to way later. Her album come, and I was working at Death Row. We
right,
wanted that album before anything. That
right.
wasn't hard for Rage. She was already it was you had to break her. She was on Death Row Records, bro. You
Yeah,
ain't got to
yeah.
break
But
Rage, man. She was falling in with the flow. And by
right,
us already working, we had the same system, same marketing plan, the same one we did with Snoop, same one we did with her. So she just fell right in and got her credit. It was just a late album. The album kept being delayed and all that mess. So
right, right. So did you ever get a chance to even work with the likes of like Master P, like 8 Ball MJG?
yeah, I worked MJG, 8 Ball, MJG. Them guys, I did the whole MJG album. Remember he went solo? Did that too.
Right,
When he was up
right.
at Blunt Records, did 8 Ball MJG. Who I did down south? Scarface, all them guys right there. Did all of them. Um, 8 Ball MJG, Trick Daddy.
So
I did Trick
okay,
Daddy also.
okay,
Nan, we did that. We did some stuff on the East Coast, down south.
okay. So you actually was a part of that when it came to um that Suave House click when they had eight
Everything
ball.
on Swamp House. We did
Yeah,
everything on
like
Swamp
cause
House.
cause
Everything.
I
Mr. Mike, all that.
right, cause I tell people all the time, one of my young guys was asking, man, he was like, "What you was playing?" I said, "Man, that's that Tigler show enough." He said,
Tila
"How
too.
old?
Yep. Tila.
How old
Yep.
is that record?" I said that record probably older than you and your mama. For real,
Yep.
for real,
Tila
for
was
real,
dope.
for real. So old record, man, old record. So
Tila
and
was
then
dope.
I
We promoted
then
Tila. I did Tila too. Did
okay,
Tila.
okay, 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 okay.
There's not
So,
too many records that was out because by us this even doing Death Row,
hmm
everybody and their mama wanted to know who's promoting this. How you guys promoting this stuff? And we had the largest street team in the United States at that time.
mm,
We had the largest street team, man, and we were very effective. A lot of us got a lot of work from just getting that Death Row contract. Even before that, most of us were already good, but getting that contract that made you great. That put you in a whole another caliber of getting that money.
okay.
Whole another
And so
caliber.
with and
I
so
did everything at Organized Noise, everything at LaFace Records from Pink, Darnell Jones, all of them, Outkast, did all that over at that label. So I did a lot of labels, man. A lot of labels.
so you broke a lot of records for different labels.
Yeah, over 500 million records we help sell. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. So another question I want to ask you about since you're from the West Coast. I was talking to somebody, right, and he was playing some unreleased music from me from a well-known R&B artist from Death Row by the name of Danny Boy.
Yeah.
And
That,
he was just telling me, my homie said, he said, man, Danny Boy got a lot of music, but he can't release it because Suge on it. But he got a lot. And
Suge don't own nothing no more.
nah, not no more.
Somebody bought up Death Row Records a long time ago. If it was my music, I'll put it out myself and sue me in the morning. Anyway,
Right, 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 right. Because
if it
Danny
was
Boy,
me, if it was
he
me.
he, he can sing, man. He can sing.
Yeah, but if
He
you
just
right now what they doing, man, Danny Boy, that's no excuse. If you want to put his music out, all you gotta do is take them same lyrics, go put them on some different beats, and drop your stuff,
right, right,
bro.
right, 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 right.
It's not gonna
And
be the same sound, but we never heard it anyway. So
that's
don't
true.
do your music, bro.
Right. And
Danny
so
Boy's
let's
been dope, man. Danny Boy was dope back then.
yeah, he
Danny,
was dope, man. Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
So
I heard the song with Danny Boy was on with Danny Boy dope. Danny Boy was really dope.
yeah,
Danny Boy,
he is, man. He is. And so you was one of them cats that broke that Montel Jordan. This is how we do it too, right?
yeah, this is how we do it. And there's another guy that was over there with Paul Stewart named LV. LV was the one singing the Gangsta's Paradise with Coolio. LV was one of our LA crooners, man. LV was dope.
Yeah,
Montel's
yeah.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
We got some LA
so
crooners. Don't get it twisted. We got some LA singers out here.
yeah.
We got
Yeah. Oh
some.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, most
Oh, man,
definitely, most
Nate Dogg,
definitely, man.
Nate Dogg, top dog. Nate Dogg was top dog.
It's
But you had
funny.
Butch
It's
Cassidy.
funny
You
you
had to take
say that.
him.
So 2 weeks ago, I had the original keyboardist from Conjunction on here, Danny Smith on it, the Danny Thomas on here.
Danny Thomas.
Yeah.
Confunction.
Yeah. Conjunction.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. 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 I had him, and he was talking about all the talent in the West Coast that people may not realize, man, and and not only was he talking about the rappers and the singers, but he was talking about how many guys he know, thousands of them that play instruments.
Oh yeah.
You
Come
know,
on, Tony was one of the groups that came out of the Bay that were musically inclined because of other acts. You had Tower of Powers from up there. Lenny
right,
Williams is from up there. Them
right,
guys already influenced by the Jimi Hendrix. They had a lot of talent in the Bay Area, man. Bay is like they had them bands. I mean, I grew up on bands. I grew up on bands in LA. A lot of
right,
bands.
right,
But
right,
it's
right, right, right.
Rolls Royce. One of
And,
my cousins was in Rolls Royce. So we
okay,
grew up around the bands.
right, right. And then I heard I was listening to something that Howard Hewitt was saying about about DJs in on the West Coast and how they break record. And he was just saying when they was in the group Shamar, the West Coast DJ broke them a lot. And then there was like when he went to be solo and Jody Watley went to be solo, the first guys that break their records was from the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, they were a West Coast label. You got to think about it. Solar Records, Dick Grew, they were right there in LA. And Dick wasn't no pushover dude. Play my record. And they're gonna play his record because of who he was. And plus it was good music. They had very good music. They had their own sound,
mhm,
with the Silvers. I think it was Leon
mhm,
Silvers. A lot of them wrote records and stuff over there with
right.
Dick. Yeah, so we had a good sound coming out of LA. That was all Sounds of Express. Come on, man. The Whispers and all them came through that label. So the Whispers are from Watts, California. So we got talent. Barry White. Come on, man.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And so another question I want to ask you about, man, what's it like working with DJ Quick?
Well, I only worked with DJ Quick one time. Well, twice.
One,
I
one
had
twice.
I kind of like I had his group taking them around, second to none. And I didn't know Quick at the time, but I know these kids had talent, and I'm putting them on radio shows and stuff with my act Mo Love, and they told me they couldn't mess with me no more because DJ Quick to give them a deal. That was a whole thing, get them their deal. So when I finally, I mean, Quick was a red rag, I'm a blue rag, but at that time I'm neutral, and I knew his people. I knew Black Tone before that. So when he came down to do the what's the name, Sugar Free, I had
Mhm.
already been in the studio with Quick on King T's album and never came out. King T had an album produced by Dr. Dre on Aftermath. It was called Thy Kingdom Come. Look it up. He had everybody he ever wanted to work with in hip hop. Cool G Rap, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, just name them. They were on this album produced by Dr. Dre. So DJ Quick and DJ Pooh together mixed and mastered that album. So I was there, and that's how I
Wow.
got a chance to really hang out with
Wow.
Quick, see him, talk to
I
him.
really
Uh,
I really hope the album drops too, man.
that's been over
It,
with.
it won't happen, man.
The tax write-off. So we gangsters the album. And I mean, what do you call it? Statute of limitations. Now we gangster that album already and put it out, man. Got our little chain because they wasn't going. It never come out. It's never come out. We did what we
Okay,
could do with
okay.
it to make sure people got it. You go online, it's probably about $150 right now. You got a copy
So,
of it.
but last but not least, I'm gonna ask you about my homies. Shout out to them, man. They definitely used to keep it hype, and they definitely had a lot of heads turning. So, man, did you make that valid connection with Cypress Hill?
Come on, man. Be real. Man, them my bros, man. I mean, this is gonna trip you out. Okay, my nephew name is DJ Latin. The guy who produced the first album for Cypress Hill name is Muggs. Muggs and my nephew Aladdin were roommates. Same apartment. His room was right there. His room was right there. I would go there. I would hear all the music that Muggs was producing. The guy that Sindall and Be Real, they would come over to the apartment while my nephew was in the other room with who? WC, making their little demo with Crazy Tunes, rest in peace. So I've been knowing them guys, man. I've been knowing them. I mean, yeah, we family. We was all family at the time.
What?
They be
What?
in the living room wrestling
What?
sometimes,
What?
wrestling around like big old kids, man. We had fun, man.
What? Right. So how was that? How was that being connected with Compton's Most Wanted?
Who?
MC8 and his crew.
How was I hooked up with them?
I said, how was it being connected with them? Because at one time, Compton's Most Wanted had a couple mixtapes that was so fire, man. You know, and you know, like MC8 had grew in that time. He had grew a big fan base, especially after he put out the record after Minister Society. So did you ever get a chance to chop it up and work with MC8 as well?
Yeah, yeah, because they were produced by one of our good friends named DJ Slip. Slip about 6'6", like he played for the LA Rams, about to go to the Super Bowl. Anyway, so Slip was the DJ, and plus he was a producer. He did all the music for their early stuff. And same, like I said, one of the DJs that worked with Slip was Too Short's cousin. So by knowing Slip, I know Chill. See, Chill, you forgot about. You said 8. What about Chill? Chill was one of the writers also. So matter of fact, I just did a tour with them. I had this is a crazy tour. I had Tidy T, LA Breeze, King T, Above the Law, Compton's Most Wanted, all on the same tour.
Wow.
I recorded the whole show. I'm gonna show it to you one day. I got
Pretty
the whole
impressive.
show, never been done. We was on tour with Ice-T, and it was big show. Big show because I had all them guys on one show. They did a King T. He introduced me. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, I've been knowing them guys since they was little kids. They were young. You know, by me being a little older than them, I was always a good influence. I never put no gun in their hand. If anything, I'll put the mic in your hand. You know, never steered none of them wrong. And to this day, we family. They love me. I don't do all that. Hey, uncle, I don't do all that uncle stuff. You don't call. I ain't you ain't my nephew. We homies. You know, all that. I don't do all that stuff right there.
Right. I can dig it. So I'm gonna ask you one last question, and then I'm gonna let you give your shout outs, and so you can tell the people what you got going on and what they can expect from you. So, you know, I hear a lot of people talk about West Coast hip hop, man, but I'm gonna say this about one guy that people don't talk about. Has people forgotten about how big MC Hammer was and how much money he made, and he is from the West Coast?
I brought up Hammer just now. Remember I said the 3 records I would send out was Hammer, Ringham,
Right.
Easy Boys in the Hood, and King T.
Not talking about you, but I'm talking about the music world, man.
They're not gonna do that because they say Hammer was pop, man. Hammer was, man, one of the coolest, still is. I knew his big brother. It's called Louis Burrell. That's how I first met him. And Hammer always had been like, he's a hustler. But he liked to help people, got a good heart, man. He helped, come on, look how many people they say he had on tour with him that he made sure they ate. He fed these people. He can't go back to not one of them, probably didn't get $20. But the thing is, Hammer gonna always be successful because Hammer got songs. Hammer stay on the road. Hammer stays on the road. Coolio stays, they still eating. Vanilla Ice, all them dudes, them old school artists are still eating to this day in their 50s, man.
Yeah, so, I know. Cause when it was, I went to see MC Light, Chubb Rock, Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh, Bismarcky, Dana Dane, Slick Rick. So I asked to promote, and this was in Charlotte, North Carolina, during CIAA weekend. It was about 5 years ago. And so I said, man, how much Dougie and Light getting, man? He said, man, you ain't gonna believe this shit. He said, man, MC Light and Dougie Fresh still get around about $35,000 to $40,000 a show, easy, easy. He said because you got to understand, once somebody make feel good music and the music is timeless, they can demand their own price because they know when you book them that people coming.
Yep.
So I mean, but yeah, man. So
Can't
so
put
the old
value.
school,
You can't put a value on my talent. You can't put me in a box unless I go for it. Unless you got 4 or 5 shows for me, I could have deal with you. But yeah, Hammer stays on the road, man. I love Hammer. Every time I see him, we have fun, man. Hammer,
right.
one of my good friends. Even when he went to Death Row, we was over there hanging out. Hammer was over
Right.
there. He was there for a little while.
Yeah, and I noticed, man, Hammer was a cat that made a lot of great investments as well, man. Because I was just reading the stocks he owned with Twitter. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
crazy.
and he had another album came out after the one he did, and he was on another label called Giant Records. When he went to Giant Records, he did another album there, and I promoted that album also.
Okay.
Hammer was there, Jade, and the DOC was also there. Oh, and this other kid named Ahmad. Back in the day when I was young, I did everything for Giant Records. I was responsible.
You say D-O to the C. Wow.
See, this is after he got his voice. He about to have a documentary coming out about his voice right now. But Doc's still around writing. Doc's still right, bro. He be writing for some of the best of them. You better ask Snoop. Come on, man. Better ask Drake. The DOC still got that penmanship.
Oh yeah, DOC was bad, man. DOC was bad, man. Hey man, listen. I still listen to that Formula album, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. It's dope, man. So man, for people want to connect with you, want to follow you, and for the MCs that may want to work with you and the younger MCs and stuff like that, man, where can they find you at? And is there any up and coming project events that you have? Please tell us what you got going on as well.
All right, y'all can hit me on Facebook. That's Scotty, Scotty D Spencer, Spencer. That's Facebook and Instagram. Or you can go to my Scotty, Scotty D Spencer.com. That's where you see my store and my videos and stuff like that. And the project I'm working on now is called How the West Was Won. Go on YouTube and you'll see the commercial. How the West Was Won, Scotty D Spencer. That's all I'm working on. Just this story. I'm putting it all in the can so you guys can get some education. You know what I'm saying?
Word. I can do that, man. I wanna shout out to my homegirl L for making that connection, man. And I want to say, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. And if there's anything I can do to help, because I know we're gonna link, brother. I already know we're gonna link, so I ain't worried about that. But man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you dropping these jewels and just give us some game on the West, man. Because a lot of people don't really know the original history of the West and how it started and why it's at where it's at today is because of how it started.
That's why I said go to my website, ScottyDSpencer.com, push video, and you'll see how it started from way back. We talking about 1969. I started my story in 1969 with the Watch Prophets, all the way up to I think I stopped on this little particular piece. It's a smash up, an hour and 40 minutes. I think I stopped with Snoop when he came in.
Okay. Great. I'll definitely check it out.
An idea how it went, but that's not my actual story. My other story is so tight, but it's it's in the can for a production company that's about to give me some money.
Okay, bet. Say no more, man. Say no more, man. We're looking forward to.
One more thing. Anybody that's trying to get in the game or wherever they need some information, you can call me directly. I ain't hiding from nobody. Area code 661-349-0241. That's 661-349-0241. Call me direct. I'm 24/7.
Bet. Say no more. Say no more, man. And peace and blessings to you, man. We appreciate you coming through. And I'll definitely be.
Where you at? Where you at in the Carolinas? Fayetteville?
No. I'm in a small town called Toulouse that's right outside of Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay, because I got family in Fayetteville.
But man, I'm definitely gonna give you a call though. You ain't got that to worry about, brother.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna give you a call. So peace and blessings. Take care of yourself, bro.
How the West was won. Y'all stay
No
blessed.
doubt. Yes, sir. Peace.
Right. Later.
Later.